Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, CNBC News, and NBC Sports, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Amazon Music, Audible, iTunes, TuneIn, and more. I am Dr. Marissa, your host and producer of this show about hope and happiness, because I want you to start your day as positively as possible. You're going to have many things that are going to try to take you down. So I want you to start as naturally high as possible. So I bring you good news that balances out all the bad news that is so easily accessible. It's everywhere you turn, which is why I recommend that you plug your phone in in another room so you're not tempted to start scrolling and seeing all the things that you read and shake your head and say, what's wrong with people? Or that the world's going to hell in a handbasket again. So if you are careful and you choose where your incoming news comes from, then you're more likely to attract and focus on and celebrate and see, grow, and magnify all of the good things in life. That's why yesterday I told you to start and take a bite of your gratitude sandwich. So we'll start with that. 8 things that you're specifically grateful for. I'm going to do mine and you do yours at the same time. I'm grateful for the amazing view of the Ocean of Abundance here. Some of you who are on my social media see me do a story a lot from that view. By the way, it's Doc Balance on Instagram and Dr. Marissa everywhere else. Would love to have you on my social. I'm also grateful for getting my Wordle this morning in only 3 guesses. I'm grateful that I have 2 incredibly wonderful daughters who are beautiful inside and out, Chloe May and Sarah Way. I'm grateful for creativity and inspiration and innovation, all impulses that come to me to create more and write or even make a film. I'm grateful that my short film, PPP, Post-Pandemic Possibilities, got its first film laurel. What number am I on? I think 5. I'm grateful that movies are opening up again and I love going to the theater, and I get to go tonight with my friend Anne-Marie to see Serrano. I'm grateful that I get to go see my twin sister, Keiko Matsui. She's in concert at the Cerrito Performing Arts Center. That was gratitude number 8, I believe, and hopefully you got yours too. It automatically makes you feel better when you're grateful for things versus being pissed off. And I want you to feel good 88% of the time. And now I have some really great, exciting news. My station manager, Mark Westwood, has notified me that thanks to our station owner, Fred Lundgren, we are back into business with being live in the morning. So I don't know if you've noticed, because of the pandemic, I went from a live weekly show to a pre-recorded daily show, which was a lot of work, but I'm not complaining. But I'm super excited to go back to the original format with which I've been doing for almost 9 years, which is live. And I remember when my friend Layla Ali was on my show, and she also had a podcast at the time. And she said, yeah, but you do your show the daring way because there's no editing. It's all live. So thank you, Layla, for that compliment. And I'm going back to that danger zone where once I say something, It's out. No going back and editing. But I'm super excited because I'm going to bring back some things that I used to do as taking callers. So make sure you get ready with your questions. If you would like some free happy coaching with advice that I don't always use, which is why the show is called Take My Advice. I'm not using it, but I try to 88% of the time. That's going to be great. I'll be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura again. And I wanted to institute a new thing called drive-by compliments. Since my new slot in the morning is drive time, I thought I would do drive time compliments. And the way that works is you call in and then you get to pay a compliment on the air, and hopefully the person who you're complimenting is listening so they can pay it forward and call in and do another compliment of someone else. I know I'm always trying to balance out all the insults with some compliments. So we're going to institute that as well as interviewing. And I'll also be bringing back headlines to Heartlines, where I take the news, whatever that news is, and try to see the bright side, which is always challenging because a lot of the news out there is if it leads, it bleeds, and it's the worst about people. But, you know, I like challenges, so we can do that. Also, a couple of contests if you would like to come on and promote whatever book, product, service, organization, or event, as well as try your hand at co-hosting with me. Then go to drmarissa.life and put all of your information in the contact sheet. And then I'll be doing a drawing to see who gets to come on and promote themselves and have some fun with that. All these ideas and more. And if you have an idea that you would like to get on to my show, please do use the same contact form at drmarissa.life and we'll have some fun. And we end this week celebrating Black History Month with a wonderful man who is a pioneer. I got to interview him a little while back, hashtag BC19, the time before COVID, as I like to call it. So I thought he would be a perfect spotlight interview to mark my celebration of Black History Month this week. You'll remember Bill Duke when he starred opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando and Predator, as well as a myriad of films where he has been an actor and a director. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Bill Duke on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, CNBC News Radio, and NBC Sports Station, KCAA AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, including my YouTube channel, where you'll get all my past shows as well as my red carpet interviews with A-list celebrities, Halle Berry, John Travolta, Quincy Jones, and a whole lot more. And you'll also get my new short film, PPP, Post-Pandemic Possibilities. So make sure you free subscribe there. You can watch and listen to all of the shows that are on instead of just listening. All right? And yes, Black History Month. I hope you've enjoyed my focus, bringing you my special series, It's Not Black and White, or Is It? With Akuyo Graham, my in-house version of Amanda Gorman poet, Pluto Brown. yesterday, and today I thought I would celebrate Black History Month with Bill Duke. So without further ado, here's my spotlight interview with actor, director, pioneer, the first pioneer who's Bill Duke, who acted as a pioneer and paved the way for many young Black men. Bill Duke, who was one of the first actors and directors, who was one of the first Bill Duke, who has done a lot in and without further ado, here's my spotlight interview with Bill Duke, who made a name for himself in Hollywood at a time where it wasn't easy being Black and an actor or a director. Here's his story. Enjoy.
I want to introduce you to someone that you know him and you've seen him, but I had no idea the plethora of reach that this man has until I did the research preparing for the show. He's an actor, director, producer in Hollywood with over 40 years experience on screen and behind the camera. And if I read every highlight, we wouldn't have time to chat. So just let me list some of the movies and TV shows you may have heard of. We've got Predator, Terminator, American Gigolo, Starsky and Hutch, Charlie's Angel, and Lost. Directing Falcon Crest, Fame, Hill Street Blues, PBS The Killing Floor, which he won the Sundance Special Jury Award in '85. He's gotten the National Endowment of Humanities by President Bill Clinton and the Board of the California State Film Commission by former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, who he's played opposite to many times, and earned a Lifetime Achievement Tribute from the Directors Guild of America's African American Steering Committee in 2010. In addition to working on creative projects in Hollywood, Bill created Duke Media Entertainment to bring quality edutainment, love that, to audiences around the globe. And without further ado, please welcome to my studio, we'll get to more of the accolades in a minute, Mr. Bill Duke.
Thank you for having me, Mr.
So lovely to have you here. My big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, calls him my Mr. Duke.
Great human being.
Isn't he?
Yes.
Yes. So peace in, peace out, big brother, and love and peace to your family. They just his dad just transitioned on Sunday, so we're just holding all of them with a lot of love and a lot of comfort. So let's start with Make My Day.
Okay.
So, did you always know you wanted to be an actor? Because you became an actor early on, like not when any kind of affirmative action was going on, any kind of, Hollywood getting grief for not having equal representation. You were one of the first. So I want to go back and say, did you know you wanted to do that?
It was a discovery, I think, more than anything. When I grew up, your parents told you what you were going to be because they had second and third grade educations. They didn't want you to be like them, so they said, be a doctor because, doctors make money. Mm-hmm. And I tried to go to little pre-med classes and cutting up cats and my room smelled like formaldehyde. It was not for me. And then I was I have dyslexia, so I was not a communicator.
Wow.
I used to write in a journal. they said, well, you like writing so much, be a teacher because English teachers make money. And so I went to, got a scholarship to Boston University, and I fell asleep for the third time in my Chaucer class and was kicked out. And my friend said, you're always talking about acting, you should check it out. Lloyd Richards, he was a black director, the first one on Broadway with Raising of the Sun. And so I went up and I tried out and I got in.
Fabulous. First try.
Yes.
There you go, right out of the box.
He became my mentor.
Wonderful.
I followed him to NYU. He gave my first job at Negro Ensemble Company with Michael Schultz, and then I followed him to L.A.
Fabulous. And then you got cast across. Well, the first big movie was Terminator or Predator?
The first real big movie was Car Wash.
Car Wash.
Yes,
Okay.
Richard Pryor and.
Do you know I had his son on
really?
2 weeks ago, right? Richard Pryor Jr. Isn't that funny?
Great.
Naxidental, not accidental. Go ahead. Car Wash.
So Car Wash was really the thing that made a difference for me as an actor. Then after that came Commando and Predator and a lot of other things. But Car Wash was the first thing.
Fabulous. And working with Arnold?
Arnold is a great human being. Arnold is a collaborator, no ego trip. He just works hard and requires you work as hard as he does, and he's just good people. And he's a very smart man, dedicated to his craft, and it was a great privilege. I worked with him on Predator and Commando.
Fantastic. And then you made the switch to go behind the camera. How did that happen?
I had a television series called Palmerstown, USA, with Norman Lear and Alex Haley, and it was on for 2 seasons, and then they had a thing called TVQ at that time. If you were overexposed to an audience, you couldn't find it. So I didn't work for 2 years. And so I always I directed theater and wrote my own plays and stuff, but I was intimidated by the cameras and the equipment. A friend of mine said, you should apply to AFI. I did. And
What is AFI?
American Film Institute.
Got it.
And thank God, Tony Vellani was there, and I got in.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So it appears that you're kind of likable, which I can understand. Just the 2 times that I've met you, you have a beautiful, gentle, humble, sweet energy.
Thank you.
And I can now answer my own question, which is, why do you think people came and wanted to mentor you, or took that you under their wing, so to speak, and supported you in your journey? What else would you say? So for any aspiring people who really want to get into the industry, what would you say your keys to success are?
I think most people would answer it with my talent, but I think my work ethic. When I was coming up, when other people stopped, I kept going. One of my things I did when I came up in television as a director, during the holidays, Thanksgiving, Easter, Christmas, New Year's, whatever it was, most directors wanted to be with their families and not direct. Those are the jobs I took. And so I just always wanted to, prove myself to me and to the people that were in the industry. So, sometimes you work 7 and 8 days a week, to be able to do what you have to do to not be as good, but the best you can be. Right. And my father and mother gave my sister and I those values.
Wow. That's so cool. If you are wondering who I get to talk to today, it is Mr. Bill Duke, 40-year pioneer and veteran in Hollywood. And you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get happy with Dr. Marissa. So I'm going to ask the follow-up question to, if you did take those gigs that no one else did that wanted to spend time with family, did that impact your family? So were you married and have kids? So I'm going to pry into your personal life now, because that's just what I do. You don't have to answer, but I'm curious.
Not marriage, but it did impact my relationships, because while they were with their families, I wasn't sometimes. And that, and my friends or the ladies I was with, and I think to a certain extent it was selfish. But I knew that if I didn't do it, there would be resentment. And so I had to choose between the two things.
Yeah.
I think that we have to really value ourselves. To be unhappy in life, which is so short, and just doing something because you're told to, is something I don't embrace. Passion is very important. And life is very short, and making a living at something that you love doing, that's very important, I think. That's what I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are prices you pay for that.
Yeah. But you were okay. I mean, there's no perfect door, is what I say, right? Every door you go through has benefits and consequences, and the worst thing you can do is turn around and go, I should have done that one.
Right.
So, speaking of that, do you have any regrets?
I think I do. I've never been married.
Okay.
And long relationship, well, not officially married, but long relationships. And I kind of wish to a certain extent I had, and had a number of children, etc. But I have a goddaughter, Natalie. I'm very proud of her, and I raised her since she was 3 years old.
Nice.
But regrets, God has been very good to me. I cannot tell you some of the blessings that I've gotten throughout my life. And I've been everything from plane crashes to everything else, and I'm still here.
Wow.
And every day I get up, I give thanks and gratitude and appreciation, because I'm working on the, Michael Jackson had a great song, working on the man in the mirror.
Yep.
And when you work on the man in the mirror and you learn to love that person, life changes. And so that's been my dedication for a while now, to really, when I leave this earth, I want to leave in peace with myself.
Yeah.
That's what I focus on.
Yeah, beautiful. Was that a hard fought discovery? Did it take you some years? My whole mission and purpose is to share that I'm one of the 7 out of 10 that grew up, in family dysfunction, and that you don't have to wallow or marinate in that. You can see it differently as a chiseling block, and that you couldn't be the amazing person that you are without that. So you talk about your parents being very supportive and positive in that sense.
Such an impressive man. And there's more where that came from, so don't go away. We'll be right back with more Bill Duke on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, CNBC News Radio, and NBC Sports Station, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Amazon Music, Audible, iTunes, TuneIn, and more. Thank you for continuing to support this show. It is the #1 talk news at 8 a.m. in the #1 talk news station in the Inland Empire. and beyond. And now we return to the conclusion of my spotlight interview with Bill Duke, celebrating Black History Month and his accomplishments in Hollywood as a pioneer. Enjoy.
Was there a time when you did not believe in yourself, and how did you get through that?
This is a business of rejection. People don't understand that. You know, when you go out for, let's say, 3 or 4 auditions a week, and then a month, everybody says no, 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 no. You're told just to butch up and don't take it personally. But it has an impact on you. Psychologically, emotionally, rejection does something to you.
Yeah, for sure.
And to kill that pain, my unfortunate solution was drugs and alcohol. And so I took drugs for a while, and then I ended up on the street begging for money.
Wow.
Because I couldn't pay the rent. And 2 things happened that were saviors for me. One was I was begging for money on the street one day, and this older black woman passes me, and I just say, "Ma'am, can I have some money?" And she just didn't say anything. And then I was begging somebody else that was passing by, and I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around, and it was this same older black woman. And I said, "Ma'am, you're going to give me some money?" And she's silent for at least, I would say, 15, 20 seconds. And she looks at my face and she says, "Son, do your mama know you out here doing this?" I just watched her walk away around the block. And from that moment, I never asked for anybody for anything again. Wow. And the second thing that happened to me was, she's my great friend now, Aida Tengamana. When I was going down on drugs and really hitting bottom, she introduced me to transcendental meditation. So I meditate twice a day now. I haven't taken drugs since I've done that. And
Can I ask how many years ago that was?
1974.
Many years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was before the success in the movies.
Yes.
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 So, wow. You would have never known. You would have never known. Thank you for sharing that. I don't know if you were planning to, but
it's in my book too.
Powerful. That's what I wanted to segue into is this book of yours that captures 40 years. It's Bill Duke, and then I need glasses, so read the bottom part of that for me in your book.
Yeah, it's 40 years on screen and behind the camera, and it talks about the easier part was, talking about my career and what I've been through. I came into this business when there were really the only black director were Michael Schultz, Gordon Parks. I think Mr. Poitier my hero did some things, but there weren't black directors.
No.
So it was a challenging time.
Yeah.
And you had to have some faith in yourself,
Yeah, definitely.
So it's but through the grace of God, I've been able to face a lot of those things and come through.
Discrimination. We'll put the moose on the table right now. That's my Canadian version of the elephant in the room.
The moose.
Yeah, the moose on the table.
I heard that one before.
I know, that's because I made that up. Because I was born.
Okay.
I was born in Canada.
Okay.
So it was there, the discrimination. You didn't get roles because you were the color of your skin.
Well, a big, tall black man in those days was seen as mean and evil, and so let's play all the bad guys.
Right.
And so I took those roles, some of them.
How tall are you?
6'5".
Just curious. 6'5".
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
a little taller than me.
Yeah. No, not much. Not much.
Notice how we took pictures you sitting down. I didn't want the camera to miss me and get your face and then couldn't see me.
Yes, no problem.
So you took those parts, the bad guy parts for a while to work, right? But they were not bad parts.
No, they were good parts.
Yeah.
And luckily I came up with theater. And so I was given a lot of skills from great teachers NYU School of the Arts and BU and other places, so that I really understood that acting was not acting. Acting is being. When I teach, I tell my students it's falling into darkness backward, and you have to trust something that's within you creatively. And so I was very fortunate. I have great teachers, including Lloyd Richards and others, and Michael Miller and others, and it taught me a great deal in terms of the craft, and that's something I hope never goes away, because there is a craft. I mean, I respect reality shows. That's not acting, though.
Don't even get me started.
I'm sorry.
I totally agree with you. Well, that's why my opening is I want you to focus on your own reality show. Please do not tune something in that just highlights the worst possible parts of humanity and the worst emotions that can be expressed by human beings. I just don't understand what's so attractive about that, but obviously it is, because it continues to get ratings and continues to be shown. But yeah, it is a craft, absolutely. Can that craft be, does someone actually have to have like the seed of that, just like a musician? Like, just sometimes people will say you can't teach musical genius. You cannot teach a singer to sing. They have to have that seed of what it is, and then you hone the craft. What would you say? Is that true for acting?
I think that the craft is the shaping of something else, and that is a trust, a vulnerability. To trust yourself enough to say, I know I could be doing this, but I have a passion. And to trust that passion, and then have that passion crafted into a skill that takes time. But your willingness to surrender to something larger than your ego. Wayne Dyer has this phrase, you can be a host to God or a hostage to your ego.
Beautiful.
And when you start being more of a host to the God within you, and understanding that you can do almost anything you want to do if you're willing to pay the price, and there's a price. It's about honing your skills and not giving up and facing rejection and not letting the voices even within you stop you from doing what you want to do. It's that, those battles are ongoing.
Right.
And you have to find something that takes you through that.
Right.
I found meditation. Other people have found religion. Other people have found different things. But if you have something that enables you to manifest your dreams, life is so short,
I do.
And if you're not living in some zone of fulfillment, you can make money, and there's nothing wrong with making money. I like money too. I'm a business person. But money doesn't fill every hole.
Correct.
How many boats or yachts and houses and cars and vacations?
Well,
and
look at Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade, tragic examples that money and status do not bring you happiness. So there is a blissipline, as Michael will call it. Yeah, that's from Michael. That is involved, and I think I'm hearing that from you as a theme. You can want and desire a whole lot, but if you're not willing to do things when you don't feel like doing them, practicing when you don't feel like practicing, sacrificing Netflix in order to find something that you would like to do differently, that's a blissipline, right?
Well, I put it like this. We're on this shoreline, and then there's a lake, and then there's a shoreline on the other side called opportunity. And some people, they put their hand in the water to see if it's too warm, their foot in the water to see if it's too cold. And then there are people just jump in, and some drown, and some keep bobbing up, and they get to the other side, and they make it to the surface on the other side. And then by the time those people who have dipped their hands and legs and everything else get over to the other side, there are signs up. and they're called entry fees. because
Great.
because the people who took the chance,
Yeah.
they deserve it.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
took the chance.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was courage. There was no fear.
Even if there was, they didn't care. They just did it.
The gospel according to Nike. Just do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And fear for me stands for future events already ruined.
Ooh, like
but
that.
Yeah, huh? I knew you would.
I never heard the gospel according to Nike.
Hey,
I'm going to use some of those.
just as long as I get credit. Which, speaking of which, I loved what you shared at Agape. One of those. The small package. What was that one? That was really good.
You want to hear my quotes?
Yeah, I love those.
I have there's some quotes that I love. One is aspire to inspire before you expire.
Isn't that great?
And the second one is, if a man does not seek humility, humility will seek the man. And another one is, in your lifetime, you will never see a smaller package than a person wrapped up in themselves.
I love that one.
Mm-hmm.
That one I'll never get tired of hearing.
Thank you.
But why is it, though, that in Hollywood, of all the places, like, you're an anomaly because, Harvey, all the in the limelight kind of people, for good and for bad, infamous, famous. It seems like, and I've been on set and I do some, TV commentary, and, we did a stint for years broadcasting out of Sunset Gower, and there were a lot of shows there, and inevitably the pecking order on set was so misogynistic and so critical and so, like, your AD and your AD2 or the people, the grip, or the bottom of the, not grips are not the bottom, but I'm just saying, what I'm talking about, a PA, yes. And they would, somebody would bark and they would jump how high and run and scurry and, like servitude. And I'm like, this is 2018, that was last year. But like, how does that still exist in Hollywood? And how do you deal with that?
Well,
I mean, am I seeing things? Am I wrong?
No, you're not seeing anything.
Okay.
You're not seeing things. It's
just checking.
There is, not every place, but there are places still where the ego is so dominantly in charge of everything.
Yeah.
That people throw phones in people's faces.
I know, spit, point, yell.
Diminish people that work for them because of their insegurities.
Right. I call them peripherally located egos.
That's exactly.
And egomaniacs with an inferiority complex. And we have been talking about your book that contains a lot of wisdom and your story, as well as we just ended with what's wrong with Hollywood. Because I had Ola Ray, who was Michael Jackson's dance partner in the Thriller, and she shared that with Me Too movement, she still will not name names because she is afraid of the repercussions, because she still wants to be part of this world. So I'd love your perspective on all of that.
Well, I do still believe that there's more opportunity, but it is a misogynistic world. It's good to see, though, that women are breaking through some of those walls. Issa Rae, for example, which now has a great deal with HBO and others, black female directors, etc. I think there is a shift, but I think my advice would be for women or minorities is to stop waiting to be discovered, discover yourself. You know, the entities will come after you after you have a certain amount of eyeballs coming to you. And so if you launch your own webisodes or put your own channel together, like you didn't wait.
No.
You did it.
Yeah.
And as a result, you know, eventually, whether it's sponsors or whatever, are going to come after you because they just want the eyeballs. So if the message in this great book, I'm sure, you talk about, you know, being something that you want to be, and promoting it and marketing it and doing it. No one cares if you don't know how to do it in the beginning. Just figure it out. I know that sounds a little harsh, but I mean, for those of us who have had any success, we had to figure it out. It wasn't easy. You know, it's like, you know, a friend of mine owns a church, and he said one Sunday he was preaching, and he said to his congregation, hundreds of people, everybody who wants to go to heaven, stand up and say hallelujah. The whole church got up there dancing and singing, and he had to calm them down. Okay. Second question. Everybody who wants to die, stand up and sing hallelujah. Nobody stood up. So for third question, he said, how are you going to get to heaven if you don't die?
Good point.
It's a good point, you know. And the second thing I'll say, this is about faith. I heard this story, which I loved. There was this village, and it hadn't rained for almost a year. The animals were dying, the crops were drying up, and everything. And people were praying in their huts. And one day the chief of the village said, you know something, if we all come to the center of the village and pray together, maybe, you know, God will hear the bigger voice. And they got to the center of the village, and they all prayed and prayed and prayed. And weeks went by, and one day this little boy stood up and says, I know why the rain doesn't come. They said, shh, we're praying. He stood up again. I know why the rain doesn't come. They said, okay, why doesn't the rain come? And he reached behind his back and he said, because I'm the only one that brought an umbrella.
There you go. There you go, and there you have it. Yeah, absolutely. What a great story.
It's real, though, right?
It is true.
You can pray all you want, but if you
true.
don't have faith, it's going to come.
Yeah, exactly. That is, you know, that, you know, you can achieve what you conceive and believe, but you have to have all three.
And you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. The action component is, you know, there's a lot of criticism of, you know, any kind of, you know, even Think and Grow Rich or the law of attraction, you know, which does not lend itself to the full picture. I mean, I think The Secret was great, and I'm glad that it brought that perspective of the power of the mind, but it has to be mind plus action, right? You can't sit under a Bodhi tree and meditate, but I call it inspired action. It's not a pushing action, because that pushing action, I can't even imagine if you pushed, if you had gotten where you are now. Right? Or I could be wrong. Like, I mean, where's that balance between this is, you know, I'm going to do it anyways and I'm going to show it, and also having the wherewithal or the wisdom not to push too hard?
Well, you know, it's about finding that balance, and I think it's a lifetime journey. I think that, you know, doing it and repeating and your efforts is important, but also surrendering to the fact that, you know, something guides you that is not your ego. You know, there's something, it's almost hard to describe. Wayne Dyer had this lecture, and he defined ego. He said, do you know what ego means? And the audience said, no. He said, EGO. edging God out. And by God, it is
Not Santa.
No.
Not an angry, punishing.
No.
Exactly.
No,
yeah. I call him my UPS man, my universal power source, and he delivers every morning when I pray and meditate.
I call him my GPS.
Oh, cool. What's yours stand for?
GPS.
Your guidance system.
The guidance system.
Okay.
It's like I get off track sometimes, but it brings me back.
Perfect.
And the thing is that, sometimes, I use the two P's, patience and persistence. You got to have both.
Yeah.
So the balance you're talking about is...
That's exactly it, right? When to hold and when to fold. Patience and persistence, patience and persistence.
And the other thing I will say is, you can't be playing checkers in a chess game.
I love that. I love that.
Because your competitions are going to say, you're a good little checker player. Keep on playing the checkers.
Yeah.
And they playing chess.
Yeah. All around you. All around you. That's brilliant. I'm going to steal that one.
You're going to steal it? Okay.
I'm going to steal that one.
Okay.
You're taking mine. I'm taking yours. We got a switcheroo there going on. That's awesome. And where do we get your book? Because obviously there's a lot of wisdom in there, especially if you are an aspiring actor, director, producer, especially if you are a colorful person, because you've got a role model here who did not let discrimination of any kind get in his way. I'm sure he has some stories in there too, with the names been changed to protect the guilty.
Yes. I like that. That's true. It's true.
Yeah. So where do we get your book?
A couple of places. Online, Amazon. And the audio book just came out 2 weeks ago. And you can get
do
it.
you talk on it? Did
No.
you actually do it? Oh,
They got an actor to
Okay.
And
you are an actor.
I know, but don't start me. Anyway, and then Barnes & Noble bookstores.
Wonderful.
Other stores. So.
Wonderful. Beautiful. And I usually ask this question last of all of my guests. What or whom are you most grateful to or for? And I already know you're very grateful, so I'm going to make you hone it in.
Wow. On the level of humanity, of course, my parents, but particularly my father. My father, when I was a young man, and the other kids were out, do I have time to say it?
Yes, please.
We're out playing football, basketball, whatever, having fun. We had a half an acre of lawn. I had to mow it by hand. And I hated it. I mean, it took like almost 2 hours just by hand.
Where was
the
this?
lawn. Poughkeepsie, New York, upstate.
Okay.
And after I finished mowing it, my father would be sitting on the front porch, smoking his pipe and reading the newspaper. And he said, "Are you finished?" I said, "Yes, sir." He'd go up. He said, "Let's go." Go up, and he'd walk over every single piece of the lawn. And if I had missed a patch, it's called a skip, and I had to do the entire lawn all over again. And I was so angry. I hated him for it. But what he taught me about life, if you're going to do it, do it to the best of your ability. No skips.
No skips. Wow, that's fabulous. Fabulous. Thank you for sharing that story.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. Well, I am so grateful to
Thanks
have
for
had
having me. I
you
really appreciate
here.
it.
Absolutely. Wish you much success, because I'm sure some of the proceeds go to your foundation. You have, you with Michael Schultz and Gordon Parks have paved the way for furtherance of African American actors, writers, directors, and producers in the entertainment and technology industries. And you give back. So you run the Duke Media Foundation for the past 10 years, has prepared youth for the future by exposing them to specific new media tools and financial literacy tools that will enable them to compete, survive, and thrive, for which I am giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
God bless you for that. Thank
yes,
you so
and
much.
I don't give that to all of my guests, but when I read that, I went, "You're definitely getting that award." And thank you for your encouragement, your wisdom, your inspiration, and just who you are.
Thank you
And
very much.
yeah, I'm looking forward to more interactions because I could definitely learn from you.
Well, I want to say one thing about
yes,
you.
please.
For this program, I call it edutainment.
Yes.
It's inspiring and it's healing. So thank you for taking the time from your life to give back. Much appreciated by all of us.
Yeah, definitely. So go support Bill Duke, get his book, Bill Duke, 40 Years, and you can get that on Amazon as well as Barnes & Noble, which, I support as well because my book's in there, and maybe we'll do a joint book signing
That'd be
sometime.
great. It'd be wonderful. Wonderful.
Fantastic. So one more applause out for you. And that's Bill Duke.
And I am so grateful that I get to meet people like Bill Duke because of this show. So I'll add that to my gratitude sandwich today. And this is it. This is the end of the show. Sorry that I have to go. And this is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room with show number 446. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Now go forth and multiply the peace that you are. No, not a piece of. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Now go and have the best weekend ever. See you on Monday.